What is my purpose in life? What am I here to do? And why is it so important that everybody seems to search for it? So the reason why is in our deep soul level, we already have a blueprint before we come into this life. So before we reincarnate on a soul level, we choose every little details of the life experiences. But once we come in, we forget everything. And there's a whole purpose to that. Because if we remembered everything, it's not only going to create chaos and confusion, but also we cannot anchor to this reality and to this experience. So there's a reason why we need to forget. And because we forget, we start to remember and insert, and we start to go through certain challenges and meet certain people and life situations, and we start to break free from the limitations, and that's when our soul evolves, and we call that growth, right? Healing or empowerment in different terms. And so basically our soul chose this blueprint, and you can see it on an astrological chart or other ancient charts that you can read. Every star, meaning you, your soul, comes through a certain portal at a certain time in a certain period. And so we have this personality, right? We have these strengths, weaknesses. Sometimes I'm outgoing, the way I look, right? The way I speak, the way I like, the things I desire. That's why we say it's all very unique. It's all very different for everyone, because everyone holds a unique signature, soul signature. So that's why we have this purpose. And when we look at the so-called North Star, the direction that we're heading in this life, why is it so hard to find? And we're always in search for it because our soul already knows where to head. So it's really important to remember to trust your heart and to tune in. That is so important, because every time you trust and follow your heart, it's already leading you to that life purpose that you already chose before you came in. But because when we come in, there's so many distractions around, right? Programming, conditioning, and then the ego mind, and the earth is very dense. So we need to have karmas, meaning that we have a lot of trauma, and we're born into a certain family and environment that's going to create more of those experiences that we need to break free from. And so we're working a lot with a lot of heavy energies. And so sometimes we get distracted, and that's when free will comes into play, because every soul, when we come into the earth experience, we have a free will. So nobody can really interfere with us allowing that to happen. And so that's why the prayer is very important, not on a religious level, but on an energetic, spiritual level. Because when we pray, we are asking and we are allowing the guidance. So when you are feeling lost, there's nobody to talk to, we start to pray, I wish I blah, 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 right? We just know how to pray, even though nobody was really taught, or even with people who are not religious. And so that's how we communicate with our higher self and with the universe at large. And we are in constant communication. And that's why we say you are never alone, because on a visible level, you may feel like you're alone physically, but actually you're not alone. You're getting a lot of support constantly. But it is up to you to ask and then allow them to help and receive. And so we have this free will. So the life purpose is that we have this big structure, so-called. It's like this building structure. We already have this blueprint. Sometimes we call it destiny, because we have certain personalities, certain desires, right? Why do I choose to be a singer over a businessman, right? I already have that desire, that blueprint in me. So we have this structure, but as we go through the journey, we have the free will to choose. And that is our unique power within, our sovereignty to choose and to create as we go with that structure. So a lot of these experiences will depend on what I choose. And sometimes we feel like we are lost, or we get lost because we forgot, right? And we got distracted. We live inside the mind rather than following the heart. We start to pressure ourselves to do certain things to fit in rather than really be our unique self and express our uniqueness, unique talents, and explore that, right? So there's a lot of feeling of limitation and pressure and oppression, not on a physical level, but because of all this energetic things around that I'm allowing and choosing constantly because of the conditionings, the karma, the trauma that I'm basically born with to come into this earthly experience. So everything is working simultaneously. You have this bigger structure, and inside you're exploring with your free will choice, meaning your power to create your reality in every second, every moment. And so these two things play out. And basically we say, I wanna know what my life purpose is. But actually, it's not something that you need to know. It's already with you. And to know, you just need to tune in and follow your unique desires. And that's why I'll, make choices that are aligned with your joy and inspiration and passion. What makes you feel joyful? What makes you feel inspired? What makes you feel passionate? Because though they hold the keys, they are the clues, and they're constantly pulling you to your North Star. And when we look at the astrological chart, there's something called North Node and South Node. And South Node is your recent past life. So the kind of the habits and patterns that you are comfortable playing in, because that you play that in for the entire life just before you came into this new life. So it's very comfortable to you. It's a comfort zone. And some of the natural skills and talents that you mastered and you repeated over time from the past life. And so it comes very naturally. So even though you are working in the business world, you may be a really good singer or you're good at drawing because you have been practicing that in a past life, for example. But in this lifetime, your soul, in order to evolve, chose a new lesson, a new path. So that's in direct opposition to your recent past. And so the North Node is representing the direction that your soul chose to, head in this lifetime in order to develop certain skills and talents and lessons that you need to realize in order to evolve, meaning grow. And so we already have a lot of resources and the potentials to develop from. You see, so we are already given both. And we are moving towards that only when we listen to our heart, not the ego mind. Like, this is what you're supposed to. You should be a doctor. You should be a teacher, because all our families full of doctors and teachers, whatever, or artists. There's no such thing. It's always in your heart, your blueprints, or it's going to be gold print as we move into the 5D consciousness in the future. And so we already have this blueprint. So there's a bigger structure called soul purpose or life purpose, and then free will, meaning that your power to create and choose each experience and each reality with infinite possibilities. And within that structure, within this playing out, we are moving towards by learning to tune in and create our path to our North Star that is unique to everyone. That is why it is unnecessary to compare yourself with other people, because everyone is unique. Because everyone holds unique soul signature. And so, it's not to blame your personality. The personality is just a play, just a character you're playing in this lifetime, if you look at it. And life is so-called play at large. in all these dramas that we're watching. It's just we are playing this certain character at this particular time in order to go through the experience. So realize you experience the pain and the joy, and we realize certain things so we can grow and evolve. And so every time you tune in, you are aligned with your life purpose. You're serving your life purpose. So there's no need to search for that big answer. We are constantly moving through. That is why experience is important than destiny. So that's why life is about processes, because now we are creating this, creating that, experiencing this, experiencing that. And in that every process, we are growing and evolving, and that's the whole purpose. But the key here is to realize that you hold the key and to follow your heart with courage, and to have the courage and to trust yourself. You need to heal from all the conditions and limitations that used to make you believe that outer force is paralyzing you, overpowering you, dominating you, so you can't do anything, which is called powerlessness. And we go into the victimhood, blaming others, blaming and complaining the situations with every little thing, and dissatisfying. And so it creates a lot of frustration and annoyance and anger. It's all out of fear of the perception that we hold inside, that's being projected out onto the world we see as reality, which is a constant threat and disappointment and danger. And so what? That creates what? A lot of unnecessary worries. We are always worried, creating worries. And then also we are creating a lot of guilt and doubt. And that's also related to the idea of forgiveness, because as we go through this journey, in order to grow and evolve, we need to learn to forgive. And there are a lot of sayings like, be kind to yourself, right? Be kind to others. But what does it really mean? Because all these definitions in our head is settling as beliefs and values, and they're governing our choices and actions. So it's really important to ask what it means first and define it for yourself. So the idea of forgiveness is not to just let go, meaning forget about it, or condoning bad behaviors. What it means is really like detaching yourself from unhealthy dynamics or unhealthy patterns that you used to entangle with, meaning by saying, oh, I don't like that, or that person is trying to screw me up, that person is trying to do harm to me, right? They're trying to do this to me, right? Because we hold that judgment and conditions, we constantly see the outside as a threat. And that's when we entangle ourselves by being a victim of circumstances. And so we complain, we resent, we blame. They are the cause of my misfortune. They are the cause of my misery. You see? So what does that indicate? That indicates that I don't have the power to change how I feel or my circumstance. It is up to them. They have to say these things to me. They have to do these things to me. They have to behave in these ways in order for me to feel what? Feel good or feel bad. So I'm always entitled to them, or it is up to them. You see? That's what we mean by victim of circumstances. And so I'm not the owner, they are the owner. Depending on what they say, what they choose to behave, or what they choose to be, my reality is determined, meaning my emotional experiences and then my mental state. It's not me determining, it's them determining my reality. You see the dynamic here? So that's constantly playing it out. And so We are hard to forgive, meaning let them go, or release myself from this powerlessness. So forgiveness is basically understanding the power is with you, within you, and the power is within everyone. So I honor my power within while I honor the power within others. It's not that someone has power over me, which is a constant threat, or a dominance, a force, a pressure, oppression, resistance, an obstacle that we perceive. And so that's why we start to compare, right? Someone is superior or inferior, or we try to figure that out. We try to measure it. So I know where I stand so I can protect myself, who I should link and associate to in order to get benefit from. So it has nothing to do with power, but the ego seeks that power dominance over others, right? And so we are learning to honor our uniqueness as we understand this power within and the idea of forgiveness. As we forgive, we feel lighter suddenly. And in the process, we need to grieve, because I need to grieve my old self of believing that I was unloved, that no one was around me, that everyone was trying to hurt me. These are illusions, and I'm now seeing that, realizing it has been created out of my conditioned self that used to believe that I was a victim, that I needed this from the other source, but they're not giving it to me, so I'm unhappy. I'm no longer in this place. And that's what we mean by forgiving myself, because I used to be very hard on myself for not doing the things that I should, not saying the things that I should. Why? Because of the conditioned pressure that I was given. So, for example, a lot of the times when we grow up in a family dynamic where I speak my mind and I share how I really feel, and it's been resisted, meaning that constant questioning, right? And pressuring me to over-explain myself, trying to justify, to convince them, right? We feel the frustration. And what that does is it creates a belief that being myself is not good enough. And so we start to play a character in order to fit in order to satisfy, in order to please. And that's not happy, because I'm feeling limited in the first place. And for example, we are being pressured to understand or condone or allow certain bad behaviors. Because why? Because they're your parents, they're your mom, they're your siblings, they're your family members, they're this, they're your teachers, they're your superiors. You're supposed to what? Compromise and sacrifice your true needs. And your heart already knows what's healthy and unhealthy, but we are being pressured to understand and forgive them, meaning accept bad behaviors, unhealthy patterns. But we already know on a soul level that it's not really healthy or balanced. And so there's this constant inner conflict that's playing out. And we play this out and create this war inside that's restricting me already too. And so we learn to judge ourselves and doubt ourselves, and start to overthink ourselves and guilting ourselves and shaming ourselves. It was me. So it creates this dynamic of either it's me or it's them, right? On an unconscious level, and we start to play these out, and the energies are stuck with us. And the process of the forgiveness is to realize the power within and to release myself from this powerlessness and victim consciousness, from this conditioned surviving state. So I'm sovereign, and I let go and release, and I see the higher perspective of their behaviors, not the ego self of oh, they shouldn't have done that, and I start to analyze their behavior, what's at fault, what they're doing wrong. I'm not focusing on that no more. I'm not entangling myself to the energy. I'm bringing the higher self, higher perspective, and shedding the light, and see that everyone is playing their own trauma and karma and going through their own pain, and they have their own toxic habits like I do. And they have just played that out. And the forgiveness starts to happen because I'm detaching and I'm releasing that. I'm no longer entitled to that. And I release it. And that's, you use the word compassion in this sense. And I can pray for their healing, but that doesn't mean I'm choosing to engage with them. So I can walk away. And that's why certain relationships end, certain friendships end, right? Because I walk away, I see the pattern, it's not healthy. And I choose healthy environments, or I create a healthy environment for myself. But not with the resentment, not with the feeling of blame and complaint and anger or guilt, but with peace, love, and harmony and balance. I walk away, I detach. I may pray for them, but from afar, but that doesn't mean I'm constantly choosing them over myself. So that is the whole process. And that's also related to our life purpose, because in order to tune into our heart, we need to unlearn the conditioned programming in the mind that's affecting the everyday choice, that's affecting the emotional state, the mental state, and it blocks away our joy or inspiration because we're now unmotivated. I'm feeling stuck in all these ideas. And sometimes we create our own stagnancy, which you can watch on my other videos that I talk about. And so that's how it's all playing out at a bigger level. So I just touched on different topics here and there. So I'm gonna end my video here today, and if you have any questions, you can comment down below. And I offer some services in order to provide help for people who need and resonate. And so it's all energetic connection. So if you're pulled towards and resonate and you feel the need of my support and help, you can go check out on my website. That is www.sidneycha.com. That is SIDNEYCH.com. And that's it for today. So before I go, I wish you a beautiful, wonderful, marvelous day. And I'm sending you lots of love. And until I see you next time, bye-bye.